Welcome back to the Mistletoe Secret. I am the star at the top of the tree, Daniel Kunkel.
Oh, that's so nice. That's a lot nicer.
That's a nice one.
Than what I was gonna do. I'm the soggy marshmallow in your hot chocolate, Trey Plotnicki.
And just like the opposites in our titles, we had two very different movies this week.
Yeah, the two movies that we watched this week were Gift of the Magi, which is based on you said an 8-page short story before we got started?
An 8-page short story, I believe, including the title page.
Yes.
Yeah. And depending on your font size, obviously.
No, of course. And then we have Battle of the Bulbs, which I thought, now correct me if I'm wrong, when I saw that as our last movie of Phase 1, we have Battle of the Bulbs, which I thought, now correct me if I'm wrong, when I saw that as our last movie of Phase 1, I was a little disappointed because I was like, oh my god, we're going to get another period piece.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to get another period piece. It's going to bore me with the details of some Irish-English war that I never learned about in school.
I thought it was going to be about kind of a Thomas Edison Christmas thing, like a Tesla Edison thing.
Interesting. Battle of the... Yeah, okay. Like a sort of a revisionist history sort of vibe.
Yeah, because there's the current war that just came out recently with Tom Holland and Ethan Hawke, I think, which is about the Tesla Edison battle over who would have their light bulb be the light bulb.
Gotcha.
It wasn't that.
No, it was neither of those options were correct.
It was much more inspired by, I would say, the Jim...
Something like that? Do you know those movies? It's like Chevy Chase.
National Lampoon?
Yeah, National Lampoon.
Yeah.
National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. It reminded me a lot of that, except it did have a story, but it still had sketch comedy. The first 20 minutes of the film were sketch. But...
Absolutely.
To finish my point there, Battle of the Bulbs was not a period piece, and I couldn't be more grateful to finish out Phase 1 with a non-period piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just a fun Christmas movie.
But Gift of the Magi came first. Gift of the Magi, I would call a very famous short story. I think that phrase, Gift of the Magi, is pretty common in popular culture. That phrase and the idea of the story, I'd say, is very common.
Yeah.
But Gift of the Magi follows Jim and Della Young, which I believe are their.
Yeah.
But Gift of the Magi follows Jim and Della Young, which I believe are their names in the short story. I know Jim and Della. Yeah, those are their names in the short story. They through a wild coinkydink of not communicating with your spouse about financial matters.
Correct.
They are a newly wedded couple. They've just gotten married. This is their first Christmas together, and as I said, through those random happenstances of keeping secrets and not revealing them at the appropriate moment, end up selling a prized possession to buy a present for the other one. But both of the presents they buy for each other involve the prized possessions that they sold to buy the prized possession. So Jim has a car that he is fixing up. Della decides to buy him the steering wheel for the car. It's a very hard to find steering wheel. I went on eBay. I found you can go on eBay. You can find it pretty quickly. And then Jim decides to buy Della a zoom and it was a zoom lens and another kind of lens. He bought her two lenses.
Yeah.
But he ends up selling the car to buy her the lenses for her camera, and she ends up having to sell her camera to buy Jim the steering wheel.
It's a classic bait and switch case of dramatic irony. It was so what's the word? Telegraphed.
Yes.
This move was so telegraphed. I texted Daniel about 20 minutes into the movie that I was currently watching, and I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen.
And I think that's a great example. This one is kind of takes a weird place in the HCU in that it is based off of a very well established device, a storytelling device.
Yeah.
in that I think even if you don't know the Gift of the Magi story, if we just described it to you, you probably were like, oh, that's just like this. And chances are that thing that you are comparing it to is itself based off of the short story.
Of course.
That we are talking about.
Yeah.
There's also a subplot between Jim's best friend and Della's best friend, and Jim's best friend has a not subtle crush on Della's best friend.
It's legendary how not subtle it is. And it's kind of off-putting, don't you agree? Like
I was watching the movie and I was like, I think she's being ridiculous because she is very the best friend is very poorly written, Renee.
Yeah.
She's very poorly written in that all of her dialogue is like, he's so boring, like I know everything about him. And that's just not, I've never experienced that to be true with anybody of any gender, wanting someone who is not like solid. The excuse is always like, oh, I want to date around a bit more, like I want to experience more people. Like that's a very valid excuse. Also super easy rewrite to make.
Right.
But Renee is written so poorly that you want to be upset with her. I think we're supposed to be upset with her. But then I agree with you. Jim's friend is so creepy in how he approaches his affection for her and his not subtle ways of asking her out, that if that was her reason for not wanting to date him, that he was very not physically or emotionally aggressive, but just kind of there, kind of a romantic presence, not willing to be there as a friend, but always trying to find the romantic angle.
And he's
I don't blame her for that.
Yeah, and he's kind of schmucky, about his about receiving rejection. Like he's just a little schmucky, he's like, darn, like, oh, she'll never want me anyway. And this dude has
which, I can understand that. Yeah. That's a valid personal choice to make. But I agree with you. He tries to guilt her into it. It feels like a couple of times in that
using the kid.
Using the kid,
yeah, using the child.
There's a point where he brings her some paint supplies because Della is also aggressively trying to set her friend up with this guy.
Yeah.
And Renee makes it clear throughout the movie. She goes on a couple of dates throughout the film, which is great. Good for her.
And we don't see those.
We don't see these dates. We just hear about it from her, and she's like, he was creepy in this way. She's not dating the best of guys, but that's not her fault. And everybody makes it her fault for dating bad guys when nobody wants to date a bad person. Yeah. And I think this is societally where this movie takes a big step back and really plants itself in kind of the early 2010s in that it makes it societally where this movie takes a big step back and really plants itself in kind of the early 2010s in that it makes it her fault that she's dating bad men. And that's not fair to her.
No.
I wrote down while I was watching this movie, I don't like Renee. That wasn't fair of me. That was me letting the societal norms of the time come into myself. Instead of looking at it from her perspective, which is, I don't want to date someone with a kid, and this guy's really kind of pushy, and I just want to date around and have fun. She's like in her mid to late 20s. Let her have fun, movie. Don't blame her for not wanting to settle down yet. That's not her fault.
Your biases were definitely ingrained in you from the very beginning, I do think. Because, I mean, if you look at the very beginning, it's very, like, I don't know, like these 2010 movies have been, like, have touches of chauvinism, like, kind of sprinkled in, and it's like, it's just,
I'm ready to get out of this period. I'm ready to get out of it.
I frequently ask myself, like, who are these movies for? Like, because they're rated G, and rightly rated G, because you're making a movie that you want the whole family to sit around the television to watch this movie. But, like, in that opening scene, like, first off, it feels like we're starting at the end of another movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it felt like I missed something, like I frequently do. It felt like the beginning of the movie started at the end of the previous movie of some
where they just got together and had the big happy wedding scene.
It felt like that. Is so weird. And like that kiss felt like it was supposed to fade to black. It was odd. But then, so when I'm asking, like, who are these movies for? Because the dad is, like, is like frequently like dodging.
Had the big happy wedding scene.
Yeah, it felt like that. It was so weird, and like that kiss felt like it was supposed to fade to black. It was odd. But then so when I'm asking like who are these movies for, because the dad is like is like frequently like dodging questions about like sex to his son, you know?
Yeah.
But then also like if we're not talking about like that, then like if this is for kids, why are we talking?
Who is my POV? Yeah, who's my POV character?
Right, like then why are we talking about like getting a second job so you can have money for Christmas? Like, do kids understand? Like, it's just so like weird, like, and cheating. Like, oh my god, it's so messy.
Yeah, there are a lot of the movies that we've watched in 2010, including Battle of the Bulbs, our other movie this week. I totally see who they are made for. I completely understand. Obviously, Santa Incident is made for everyone. Everyone should watch the Santa Incident again.
Santa Incident does not discriminate.
This one's strange. Reading the short story really, really helped me get more upset with this movie, I think, because the short story is entirely from Della's perspective, and in that one, she has to cut her hair. She has to cut her hair off.
Oh my god!
To buy a she has to sell her hair.
Oh my god! That's so much worse.
Her hair. She sells her hair to buy a gold watch chain, a gold pocket watch chain for Jim, and Jim. So she goes through explaining her day of like, I've only got this much money and I need some more money. I got to get some more money. And so you really relate with her and you're really in with her and you're like, yeah, she just wants to get a nice present for her new husband, which is very sweet of her. And then at the end, she just wants to get a nice present for her new husband, which is very sweet of her. And then at the end, the revelation is that he sold his pocket watch for these gorgeous bejeweled combs for her hair, but of course she shaved all her hair off. She got her hair cut and sold it. That one, maybe that short story, I totally get it. That's a great short story. That like there's no confusing of who my POV is. There's no confusion about who I am supposed to relate to. The message is very clear. This one, Della gets a second job at a hotel to afford the wheel. She ends up not being able to.
Can I talk about the absolute dichotomy between I need to cut off my hair to buy a gold chain for a pocket watch versus I need to wash clothes.
Supposed to be our POV, but then the movie halfway through becomes about how Jim sees Della going into the hotel that she works at with her manager, talking to her manager. Jim is driving around town, sees her, he confronts her, doesn't ask her what she was doing, automatically jumps to, she's cheating on me because she's been coming home late. She's a bad liar. We do establish she's a bad liar, and she is a bad liar. The actress does a great job of being a poor liar to Jim.
Yes, yeah.
Jim automatically jumps to, you are cheating on me. Della, and audience, I hear you. You're going, well, she should just tell him, like, I'm working a second job so I can buy you a present. She doesn't need to reveal what the present is. She could have just said, I was trying to make it a surprise. I'm working so I can buy you a Christmas present.
Right.
But Della gets so offended. And again, I don't blame her. It is maybe unfair. Della gets so offended. And again, I don't blame her. It is maybe unfair of him, from her perspective, to assume he is cheating.
Yeah, but
seeing it from Jim's perspective, also, I get it. I understand why he would think that. She's got some not great excuses because she's a bad liar. And he did see her going into a hotel with a strange man.
But the argument that she uses next is like really weird because, like you said, she doesn't come clean, which like she should absolutely do, and then just still keep the present a surprise because like, oh my god, that's so nice, you know?
Yeah.
But she then flips the script and says, well, where have you been? Maybe you're cheating on me. And when that happened, I was like, oh, my God, these people.
Yeah, she's like, you're always working on the car. What does that mean?
Let's dissect like what each of them see. Like,
Please.
Jim sees that Della is like going into a hotel with a man. Okay, it can be easily misconstrued as cheating. Okay,
yes,
like that's like number one thing that you want to look out for cheating is a hotel and a dude. Number two, from Della's perspective, Della sees that Jim is in the garage and works at the bar. Like, I don't understand how she gets to her argument where it's like, maybe you're cheating on me, other than her just being defensive and needing to say something, you know?
Exactly.
Because like the garage, like when I say the garage is literally floor 1 of their apartment building. Like the garage is like downstairs. It's crazy. It does remind me of the Rent apartment in the movie, where they're like the Rent apartment in the movie, where they're like, we're not gonna pay, and I'm like, well, just move.
Just go to a different place.
Yeah, just move. It looks pretty expensive. I understand you have a deal with Benny, but you should probably look into something cheaper just in case relationships don't work out.
Like they don't in the musical.
It would have solved the movie. Anyway,
like the hit film Rent. Yeah. Also, these people do not understand how deals work. They both make a deal with, what's his name? Jim makes a deal with the woman selling the cameras. Della makes a deal with the pawn shop owner, where they're like, if you buy both, I'll make you a deal. And they're like, okay, great.
Yeah. There's no like
no
elaboration.
Negotiation.
Yeah. There's no like,
Does the
what
deal
is
like
the
15?
deal?
Is it 15%? Is it 20% off? Is it 50%
Is it
off? Like,
is it buy one get one free? Also,
yeah, is it a BOGO? I don't know what this deal is.
That pawn shop owner, buy one get one free. Also,
yeah, is it a BOGO? I don't know what this deal is.
That pawn shop owner was like, here, call me if you need anything. And what he writes down can only be described as 2 numbers. He writes.
I thought he was the Zodiac killer.
Yeah,
he wrote these odd scribbles, and if you look at it right, it looks like 2 numbers, but it looks like a bunch of random marks on a piece of paper.
Let me see if I can
not
find
long
it.
enough to be a phone number.
He literally writes down 2 numbers and a dash. Like that's what his phone number is. So
Renee also is having to paint her apartment and buys the paint, and then complains that she cannot afford paintbrushes. Paintbrushes are $4. You can buy a pack of 20. I looked this up just to make sure, because I bought paintbrushes before, but I wanted to do my research and double check. You can buy a big paintbrush from Home Depot for $4, a bucket of paint.
And the paint was fine, no problem.
Anyway, that's the movie. The whole thing is a cautionary tale against surprises, because they end up breaking up. They separate.
Yeah, they legit like are sleeping on their friends' couches, and then the kid hatches a plan or something like that to get everybody back together.
The kid of Jim's creepy best friend is like, go get your stocking from your house, and then Renee, Della's friend, is like, you need to go back to your house and get a nice dress because you're coming to church with my family. This was, weirdly enough, I felt like maybe their most religious Hallmark film, but also the horniest one we've watched.
It was
They say the word sexy twice, which was very unexpected from a Hallmark film.
They said, when they were picking out Christmas trees before disaster struck, when the movie was happy.
I felt like maybe their most religious Hallmark film, but also the horniest one we've watched. They say the word sexy twice, which was very unexpected from a Hallmark film.
They said, when they were picking out Christmas trees before disaster struck, when the movie was happy, and was filled with tension, Jim said, I'll show you strong and sexy. And then he dipped her while they were picking up Christmas trees. I don't know why that came up, but I wrote that down because it shocked.
It was a whole scene where they go and cut down their own Christmas tree, and she's like, "Ooh, this mountain man vibe is sexy," and he's like, "Oh," and he like does a bad flex. It was It was unexpected. This, I think, though, is another example, like November Christmas, of one that was presented by Hallmark, but actually made by a different company.
Gotcha.
But I believe this was made by a different production house.
Interesting. They did a better job linking it to other movies, though, I will say, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, this is made by RHI Entertainment.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. This is legit. Yeah, it's a legit film house. Okay. All right. Parallel Film Productions was involved. All right. Yeah.
So okay.
Connections.
So what we may have mentioned that Jim works at a bar.
Yes.
At this bar, there's this guy there. And it's just a dude. I'm pretty sure he has a name.
It's Wilson.
Is that Wilson?
Isn't that Wilson?
Yeah. So he's like an Englishman or like a Scotsman. He has an accent.
They have an accent,
yeah.
Definitely.
And he's at the bar and he's kind of gruff looking. And he's at the bar and he's kind of gruff looking. He says things like, you get any sweeter around that wife of yours and you'll get cavities, like stuff like that. He speaks in rhymes. I think, okay, and
right.
and we'll figure this out for the recap officially. But I think he's either Santa Claus himself, presenting his shadow hand, or he's a guardian angel akin to Three Wise Women.
I think he is a guardian angel.
Okay.
I'm missing. I don't see as much why Santa would be there. This feels very much like Tom in Three Wise Women, where he cannot directly tell you, but he does throughout the movie. He is presenting this very much like Three Wise Women without the time travel element, but he is presenting a dark future for Jim, where if he does communicate and love his wife, he will end up a sad man who goes to the bar to avoid the woman that he once loved so dearly.
I can one-up you with this.
Lay it on me.
I can't quite explain the accent.
Okay.
But maybe that man is Jim from the future.
Oh.
And we don't get to see the guardian angel actually in the flesh, because obviously that breaks the rules of Three Wise Women. So maybe
you can only appear. Your guardian angel could only appear to you in heaven.
Yes. So maybe the guardian angel is there, but that is Jim from the future, and there is a guardian angel presence.
I really like that because
Okay.
there is this weird thing where the guy keeps showing up where Jim is. He shows up at the bar constantly. He's giving these pieces of advice. Either he's directly saying, love your, or he is presenting the dark alternative, which this is what will happen to you if you do not.
Right. Because he does say something along the lines of, like, why do you think I'm here all the time, or something like that.
Yeah. No. He directly is like I'm here avoiding my wife. I don't love her no more.
Yeah.
what I think we can use as evidence, because I hear the listeners, their voices haunt my dreams. I hear them saying, "Where's the evidence?"
Naturally.
If you remember, the archangel in Three Wise Women was green. And we were talking about this right before we started recording. There is a character in this movie named Mrs. Greenwood. So I would like to posit that is green, and perhaps he is kind of acting as a double guardian angel here. He is acting as a guardian angel for their couple. They have been married, and as they are archangels, that we can assume they are in the Judeo-Christian belief, the Abrahamic religions.
Okay.
I don't want to lock us down to one.
Of course.
But archangels are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They appear.
Okay.
And in a lot of the belief systems underneath that Abrahamic thing, when you marry someone, your souls of a kind join, and they become one in a way.
Okay.
And I'm not going to get too deep into divinity here.
Yeah, that's for next episode. That's for
I think we can make a strong argument that maybe if you are married truly to your soulmate, then wouldn't your guardian angel want to protect the one soul that you have made?
This is a This is a ironclad theory that we have going on here,
I think
Daniel.
that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that is that is not only because we did struggle to make connections. Similarly, The Town Christmas Forgot, Three Wise Women, and now Gift of the Magi.
And I get to the Magi's in there. Yep.
So
I love it. I love it.
I'm content with that. That's sweet.
Me too. All right, Battle of the Bulbs.
Battle of the Bulbs. You know what? There's honestly, with this one, it's goofy, it's fun. There's not that much to talk about, like, super detail-wise. I would like to comment on a few things.
The plot's not there.
Yeah.
Please.
So the plot, essentially, is... I'll give a brief overview. The plot, at its bare bones, is there's a guy in the neighborhood who loves Christmas, and he decorates his house.
Bobby Wallace.
Yeah, Bobby Wallace. He loves Christmas.
Bob Wallace.
He decorates his house every single year. His name is Bob Wallace. Then we find out that there is a contest being run by the mayor where the prize is $5,000 for the person who decorates the best house. Okay,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
so much money.
That's so much money for decorating a house. And I will tell you, I'm shocked more people didn't try a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like
no one else in the neighborhood does anything.
Because they did a little montage of like houses around the neighborhood, and it's like somebody putting up like a lit up deer. Somebody's put up like little like shingle lights on one of their houses, and Bob Wallace's house is decked out. He has Peace on Earth above his garage, which is
it's massive,
very strange, right? That was a little strange to look at.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So so he has that going, and then a neighbor moves in across the street, and his name is Stu Jones, and Stu Jones is a child, but they turned enemies because they got into a fight where they both cheated on a contest for money. So it was like
for their paper route.
Yeah,
they stole each other. Stu stole Bob's customers. Bob stole his customers back and Stu's customers.
Yeah. So it's like, have you ever sold cheesecakes, Daniel? Like in school?
No, I've never sold cheesecakes.
Have you ever sold like wrapping paper?
I remember getting those. I remember getting like those Christmas catalogs to sell things for.
Did you ever get the
elementary school,
like the coupon books?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I think they were kind of doing that, you know, like
it was kind of like that, except the prize for these high school senior paper route boys was a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
a red Harley Davidson motorcycle.
This movie, I think this and Gift of the Magi are very confusing in terms of their larger place within capitalism in America. I don't know if it's a motorcycle.
a red Harley Davidson motorcycle.
This movie, I think this and Gift of the Magi are very confusing in terms of their larger place within capitalism in America. I don't know what town in California is offering $5,000 for Christmas decorations. What paper company in California in 2010 is offering a motorcycle to its people?
Yeah,
and I don't know who can afford to buy paint but can't afford to buy paintbrushes.
Yeah, that's odd.
And why none of her friends are like, here's $10, go buy paintbrushes.
Things are not adding up with these two movies, but we love them.
Literally,
anyway.
Literally, they are not adding up.
We love them anyway. So Stu Jones moves in, right?
Yep.
Stu and Bob obviously are going to get into a duel about these Christmas decorations, and the bulk of the movie is like these sort of National Lampoon Christmas Vacation vibe Christmas fights. Other with Christmas decorations, they send the fire marshal to each other's homes for like...
The fire marshal steals the movie.
No, he was fantastic. Absolutely.
The fire marshal played by Daryl Shuttleworth, Canada's own. Amazing. Amazing.
Super great. Tons of fun. Daryl Shuttleworth. So good.
Daryl Shuttleworth. We should note that Bob is played by Daniel Stern of Home Alone fame. He was Marv in Home Alone.
Yes,
that's
he
how you
was.
know him.
Yes, he was.
He doesn't have the beard in this one. he kind of was rocking in Home Alone.
Right.
It's not, or the mustache rather, I think. Yeah, no, it's a very both of them are kind of cranking up the National Lampoon, the Jim Carrey style was all in there. At one point, the Jim Carrey like loser,
that was
like
weird.
with the thing. He does the Jim Carrey exactly. It's the very bad impression.
Yeah, and he kind of talks like Ira Glass. Stu does.
Yeah,
He goes,
yeah. It's weird.
He goes, Mary, like, what do you mean we're it's like super strange.
What do you mean we're doing things? Like he's always talking like this.
I don't have $500 or $5,000.
Yeah, at one point they make a bet of who would win. Like the $5,000 from the mayor, and the bet is $5,000. So
no. They don't even mention the competition until
the end.
3/4 of the way into the movie.
He doesn't enter the
They make a
competition
bet.
until the day before. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a Christmas party with a great side character named Walter and his wife. There's a big Christmas party that Bob throws that they invite Stu to, and happens in it.
Yeah. Oh well, so a little plot point. Bob Wallace's son feeds Stu a hot chip. Hot chip.
Oh no! Chip is Stu's son.
Oh. Stu's son, and then Bob Wallace's son, Tim.
Tim.
Tim and Chip. Feeds him a hot chip. Feeds Stu a hot chip at the Christmas party, and Stu is like, that damn Wallace kid tried to poison me.
He like is shoving ice in his mouth at a respectable dinner party.
Yeah.
And like shoving ice in his mouth, and again, really wanting to be Jim Carrey, and like he's like, they tried to poison me while he's like shoving ice in his mouth. That's horrible.
Yeah. So these hijinks, these one-upping hijinks were pretty remarkable. Stu tried to do a stealth mission into Bob Wallace's house. He like put face black on.
It's blackface. It's like quasi blackface.
Yeah. It's a little.
And then he takes a picture of himself, and I was like, I get what you're doing. You're like, it's black grease, so you can like hide in the. I get it.
Definitely.
And then he takes a picture of himself, which felt like it was going to be a setup for like somebody finding the picture and being like, Stu, this is not okay. This is horrendously offensive of you, Stu. It's not. It's just so he can flash a camera light in his eye and blind himself temporarily.
Goofy comedy.
It's not good.
But then he goes over there and he gets peed on by a cat and then thrown cat litter at himself.
Kitty litter? He's more disgusted by the kitty litter and the like one thing of cat poop that's in it than fully having his face covered in cat urine.
Literally pee. Pee.
Kitty litter doesn't smell great. Cat urine smells so much worse.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god,
yes.
This movie.
So
yeah, there's that, and then there's the subplot of Susie and Chip that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Who is Susie is Bob's daughter. Chip is Stu's generic son. You got a boy generator and you hit the middle slider on every single one and you get Chip.
He can only be described as boy with basketball. That is the best description that I have for Chip Jones.
The first 3 scenes we see of him, he's playing basketball
boy
by
with
himself.
Basketball. What I will
blonde hair, blonde swoop, playing basketball.
Yeah,
that's Chip.
There's some real star-crossed lovers vibes going on. Some regular Tony and Maria action happening in their scenes with sparks flying.
I will say this.
There's a full-on balcony scene, dude. There's a balcony scene.
This is our first time seeing it. I will bet you cold there's scene of a boy throwing a rock at a girl's window. And I'm going to say it every single time we see it. It's not romantic. It's creepy, and it can cause property damage.
Yeah.
Do not throw rocks at people's window. I was watching this movie in my bed at like 11 o'clock. Pretty much, I think, when Chip goes over there to see Susie. And I was sitting there watching the movie, and I paused it. And I was like, if someone threw a rock at my window right now, I would scream. I would call the police, and I would scream.
That'd be scary. Yeah, especially because like people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't do that. Like you'd hold a boombox. Nowadays you don't really.
Boombox is fine.
nobody's
send them a Snapchat when you're outside, I guess,
Yeah.
is like the modern day thing.
Teens are
to do.
too anxious these days to ring a doorbell, so they'll probably just text them and say, "Come to your window," you know? Like if I'm not gonna go to my friend's front door to like knock on his door and be like, "Hey, you want to catch a ride over to the Mickey D's down the street?" To like knock on his door and be like, "Hey, you want to catch a ride over to the Mickey D's down the street?" I'm not gonna then go over to my potential love interest's home, throw
Whose
a
father
rock
hates me.
at their
Whose father hates me.
Yeah, it's just what.
And I've been in her room one time, and I'm guessing what window it is. Guessing what window it is, because if you guess the wrong window, oh my God, wow, you're screwed.
Did he go into her room at the holiday party?
At the holiday party, yes, with all of her friends.
Oh yeah.
This movie,
yeah.
significantly less horny than the first one.
It's
there is a noticeable amount of decency in this one. Very traditional values. At one point, Chip goes over to hang out with Susie when her parents are home, and her parents leave and put her in charge of her little brother. And instead of encouraging her to like hang out with him, he does not. He leaves immediately, and very traditional value decency, I would say.
And we bring up this subplot because it is important to the actual main plot. Like it's important, and that's good writing. I think props is here and deserved.
Yeah.
Because the reason why the feud between Bob Wallace and Stu Jones halts, it ceases, is because of the star-crossed lover phenomena. They have like this big fight. Chip comes over and delivers this beautiful dramatic monologue that Romeo would piss his pants to be able to deliver. And where it was like, I don't know, like my dad hates your dad, like something like that. And
like if one of them wins the bet, if your dad wins the bet, he'll hate me even more, and if my dad wins the bet, your dad will hate me even more. Like it's just not going to work.
Yeah, stuff like that. And Bob Wallace is hearing all of this, so it's tough. It hits him deep. Like their respective offspring both hate the dads, and Bob Wallace decides to.
They're silly bet.
Yeah, Bob Wallace decides to extend to Stu Jones an olive branch, which I think is really remarkable. Now, right before all of this happens, right before that exactly
your favorite
happens,
subplot.
This is important. Okay, this is a very important subplot. There is a old lady and there is an old man that kind of walks around. Okay, the old lady is the next door neighbor of Bob Wallace. And then there's an old man that like lives down the street, I think.
We don't know where the old man lives.
Gotcha. So there's like a potential like love connection between this old man and old woman. We do get a meet cute in the movie, and I'll talk about the meet cute.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll talk about the meet cute later, and if you want to like splice it cute.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll talk about the meet cute later, and if you want to like splice it, then. By all means. I'm sorry. I wish I talked about it when we talked about the romantic interest between Chip and
we'll come back to
Susie.
It.
Yeah.
There's time.
Yeah. So the old man and the old woman, there's a possible love connection there. And like the wife, what's the wife's name? Mindy.
Whose wife?
Mindy Wallace. Mindy Wallace is like, hey, you notice how every time old woman next door goes outside, old man just like happens to be like walking down the street? Don't you think that's kind of cute? And Bob Wallace is like, oh, his candy canes are bigger than mine, or something like that. So we get the Wallaces later in the movie get mail that's supposed to be for the woman next to street. So we get the Wallaces later in the movie get mail that's supposed to be for the woman next to street, and or the woman next door, and Mindy opens the letter and is like, hey Bob, are we behind on our taxes? And I was like, oh my god, like he screwed the pooch so bad on this one. He forgot to pay his taxes so he can buy some bulbs. But then the scene goes on and it somehow gets better. The old lady next door has been an IRS tax fugitive for years. For years.
She owes thousands of dollars in property taxes to the federal government.
And thankfully just under $5,000 just in time for this $1,600. Where are we ever going to come up with $5,000? And it's at this point that Bob Wallace is catapulted into seeing Stu Jones across the street and saying that he has a solution to not only mend his daughter's relationship with his son, his this old man and this lady's relationship, so this woman doesn't go into IRS tax jail, which is so funny, and also will mend both of their relationships with their wives, and in addition,
because their wives are fighting now too.
Yeah,
at this point,
at that point, like the wives were like staying out of it and like thought it'd be playful, but then it escalated, you know. So this thing just erupted into the climax of the movie, which is they decorated this woman's house head to toe. The mayor comes over with all their decorations, which are still a fire hazard according to the fire marshal. Yeah, the fire marshal comes
for
back,
the state of California.
Great. Yeah, no, honestly, like the end of the movie was super fun. I had a blast. The old man, there was an auction. Sorry. So like the two, Stu and Bob, were like supposed to go to the auction. This like auction
to buy a really big light angel.
Yeah, to buy a
for their like as like the final thing to like put them over the edge because they're neck and neck.
Yeah, and the old man ended up sneaking it past both of them. Like
he anonymously buys it, and we don't know who the buyer is for about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
before we find out that it was the old man.
Super sweet.
He gives the woman the angel.
I didn't expect that. I'll tell you that.
No, I was like, who is this anonymous buyer?
Yeah. That was super,
it was
sweet.
Good. It was good. And then they hug on the old woman's lawn. They start singing. Yeah. That's the movie.
And it was great. Like I had fun. Like I had a fun time watching it. One of my favorite lines from the movie was when Mindy and what is the Joneses, Mary. When Mindy and Mary were having their conversation that eventually spawned their feud, they like Mary like made fun of Mindy's home, like it's just so dirty and disgusting in here, or something like that. And Mindy asks Bob, like the husband wife, Mindy goes, Mindy goes, "You don't think this house is a mess, is it?" And then Bob goes, "No, it's not a mess. You just like it looking a little lived in. That's all. I don't mind it."
And then the movie gets a little sexy for a second. Like a second later, you hear, "Oh!" and he like falls to the ground. And then she turns the lights on. And he's tripped over a hamper, and they definitely crank up because she's like, "Is the house dirty?" And at that point, I was like, this house is kind of dirty. Yeah. There's dishes everywhere. There's like a noticeable T-shirt on the bed frame right behind her. That was very clever because as soon as she said it, I was like, "Oh wait."
But it was
your house is kind of dirty.
It was weird. It was like, but like the way he said it was like, "No, you just like it a little lived in." It's like that's it.
It was very sweet,
and I was like, "That's sweet," but also like that wouldn't make me feel better if I was like, "Is this like if I like like if I am in 2010 Hallmark land and I am the woman of the house, which is for some reason a role that you need to have in a 2010 Hallmark film, and and you told me that my house looks lived in,
that my ship, this is my I am the
house looks lived in,
that my ship." I am the captain.
That the ship I swab the poop deck of every single day looks lived in. Like that would not make me feel better. But I'm glad that we could have just moved on from that. You know?
Yeah. So what are our connections? This one is tough. This is a very isolated movie. It takes place all inside this neighborhood. We have one scene with outsiders.
Yeah.
Which is the Christmas party.
Mm-hmm.
We do get a mistletoe kiss in this movie. What did you think of this mistletoe kiss between Walter and his wife? Walter is the bombastic party guest that I mentioned a little bit earlier.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think this is the worst mistletoe kiss we've seen so far.
It was like they were eating. It's like they were having a meal under the mistletoe. It was really bad.
It was gluttonous, and it was overly indulgent, and it was in the entryway of a party when they are greeting guests. You have slowed the flow of the party, of the event.
The flow of traffic.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah,
you've stopped the flow of traffic. You've created an additional fire hazard in this house. In addition to all the light bulbs plugged in very haphazardly.
For it being hot, hot, hot. I like how you... sorry about that. I like how you use the word gluttonous for what the kiss, how the kiss is described, because I would also describe it as sinful. So it was definitely not by the book of God, I will say.
No, all the mistletoe kisses we've gotten so far have been capstone kisses, I would say. They have been
because
except for the Santa suit one, which is like a kiss, a gentle kiss on the cheek. But if it is a kiss on the lips between two romantic or soon-to-be romantic partners, it is a very gentle thing. And there's the only awkward one is when they had the eyes open at the end. This one, they go in for the kiss, and it's like a...
like I said, it's like they were eating.
Yeah, they do it like 5 times. It's like little woodpeckers.
It was wild.
Anyway, our connections in this movie. This movie takes place in Richmond, California. So we got another California movie.
Yeah, which a lot of them have been. I think the Santa incident was very notably in California.
Yes. And Santa incident was at first where my head went. I was like, oh, are these towns maybe sister cities to each other?
Yeah.
This movie takes place in Richmond, California, which is a real city.
Okay.
Right across the bay from San Francisco.
Okay, who was the mayor in 2010?
Gail McLaughlin.
Has he been there since?
She was she won 2 consecutive 4-year terms in 2006 and 2010.
Interesting. Where are you seeing this?
On her Wikipedia page.
Oh my god!
That's the first thing.
2010.
Gail McLaughlin.
Has he been there since?
She was she won 2 consecutive 4-year terms in 2006 and 2010.
Interesting. Where are you seeing this?
On her Wikipedia page.
Oh my god!
It's the first thing. It's the first thing on her Wikipedia page.
So she's been... Well, screw my biases, because I said he. How dare I assume?
She was in the Green Party.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she made Richmond the largest U.S. city led by a Green Party member in 2006 when she was elected.
Amazing. Wow. So
she has espoused a minimum wage increase and a plan to forcibly appropriate foreclosed home mortgages from banks.
So now
she has led an ongoing effort to restrict the municipal influence of Richmond's largest employer, the Chevron Corporation, and to refashion its environmental obligation. Come on, Gail.
Come on, Gail. Come on.
Yeah, Gail.
So
get it, Gail.
So here is... So with what we know about Gail is now officially canon in the HCU, unfortunately. She's been dragged in.
That's the mayor. No, that's the mayor of the town.
Did he? Okay, Daniel, don't ruin this for me. Okay, don't do this.
I want it to be Gail too. I want it to be Gail. I love her. I love her already.
Do they say it's the mayor?
No, but he pulls up in the car and everyone like holds a microphone up to him at the end. It is like, what do you think, Mayor?
Do they say mayor? Daniel, I'm splitting hairs, but if Gail is not in this movie, we're gonna have an issue.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull up the movie. We use Hallmark Now, Hallmark's premier streaming service, to watch most of our movies.
Absolutely, would recommend. We're not sponsored by them, but maybe
we're not sponsored. But it's like $50 for a year-long subscription, and you get access to all their Christmas movies and their thing. Are we trying to get endorsed right now? Is that what we're doing? Thing? Are we trying to get endorsed right now? Is that what we're doing
that's what's happening. And you can watch the Santa incident, which is...
God, you can watch the Santa incident. You can watch Santa incident and Battle of the Bulbs.
Yeah, that's a 110 movie right there.
All right, I'm pulling up Battle of the Bulbs. It's not Gale. It is the guy.
Does it?
His first line is as mayor.
Oh my God, Hallmark. Oh,
Hallmark. Why are you erasing history and replacing it with old white men?
It's a city in California, for God's sakes.
Why did they make it a real city if you're not going to use? I get not being able to get the actual mayor. That makes sense. She's a working woman, but like,
oh man, Hallmark.
Did I just kill your theory? I'm sorry.
I mean, it's fine. You didn't destroy it. Hallmark destroyed it.
And we love Hallmark.
We love Hallmark.
I'm loving this journey. The most diehard Hallmark fans would agree with us. Every once in a while, every studio is going to make a misstep.
Yes, of course.
I think this is their misstep.
Yeah, this is their one misstep that they wrote. They're on a short leash.
I'm watching.
I'm putting them on it. They're on thin ice. I'll tell you what.
So this movie takes place in Richmond, California. Last night at 1 a.m. when I finished watching this movie and did my research, I looked up a map of restricted airspaces in California because, as we know, in the Santa incident, Santa violates restricted airspace. Not 12 miles away from Richmond, California, there is a lovely area of restricted airspace in California.
And now
you all can go to the arcgis.com and you can see FAA UAS data. You can see it on a lovely map. You can go all the way up to San Francisco. Where's California? Oh, I missed California.
I've got... you're giving me...
Sorry, there is restricted airspace around... I can't... It's near Bay Point and Martinez and Concord in California, for everyone who's in California. It is right around Grizzly Bay. Richmond is... Man, if I'm doing my scaling right with my little ruler they've given me... Yeah, it's like 12 miles away. It's very, very close.
Daniel. I have this.
I'm glad you do.
I have the connection.
Please.
This is big brain, Daniel.
Okay.
Do you have a connection? Because I'm using the restricted airspace. I'm trusting you on this.
I'm looking at the restricted airspace map. I'm looking at it right now from the FAA.
All right, ready?
Lay it on me.
2010's Richmond, California. It's big business Chevron oil. Now, What do we remember about where Santa fell in the Santa incident? We remember rigs. We remember trolleys. We remember...
He fell in Rockwater Bay, California, which is not a real town.
And big, like just big machinery that, to me, I don't know, that seemed like oil stuff. Like, that seemed like oil machinery, like refinery type things, right?
Okay, yeah.
Now, if he landed near Richmond, I wonder what brought him in that area like that in the first place. So let's think about that.
Okay.
We mentioned at the beginning when we were talking about Battle of the Bulbs, we mentioned how $5,000 seems like a steep prize to give out to somebody who has the best lights in their house, right? Involvement, and are supposed to encourage, if you want more lights up in the neighborhood, incentivize it. Like, give a prize for the town who has the best lights, and then you have a ton of fantastic lights around town. In 2010, the mayor of Richmond, California, set up a $5,000 light decorating contest to lure Santa in the area to shoot down his sleigh. If he was not to fly over to see all of these lights that honor his presence, and stuff, why be lured into that area? And why were they trying to capture him?
It's about 12 miles is this restricted airspace. But it's also very close to San Francisco, and over airports those are also restricted airspaces. Get out of town.
What?
Oh baby, I found it. I think I may have found it. So right near Richmond is just north of Oakland, California. Right across the bay, right across the San Francisco Bay is Richmond and Oakland.
Okay.
And right in the little area of Oakland, there is a lovely little military base there.
Ho baby. Ho baby. And why else? Why else bring Santa near this area? Like, why else lure him near this area if it was
Early.
not for
Why lure him there
geographical advantage? I mean, a lot of these movies do take place in California, I will say. So, like,
They take place in California for a reason, and we haven't found that reason yet.
but we will.
I would not call California a particularly, not sinful, but I would not call San Francisco a particularly naughty place. As opposed to a nice place.
Mm-hmm.
So why does Mr. Claus find himself so frequently there? Is it because he is lured there by the Department of Homeland Security, waiting for their chance to capture the big man?
This is what I'm saying, man. Like, I think
we need another movie with a mayor.
This was big. And I will say, like, it's big for the reason that this is the last film that we're watching for Phase 1. Things are starting to ramp up, right?
Oh, 100%. I think deeper than either of us really expected it to
Yeah,
go.
this is conspiracy.
This has gotten pretty scary deep. Really, really quickly, can you give me those meet cute rules? I want us to double check this, and then I actually have a new checklist that I'd like to try out on this week's episode.
Absolutely. So I got so for meet cute for the Battle of the Bulbs, we got our culprits, which are Chip and Susie. Yeah, Chip and Susie.
They've entered the ring. Ding, ding, ding. Fight.
Yeah.
Belligerent bystander was right. Is that your first
belligerent. So we got the belligerent bystander, which are the dads. The dads are
absolutely
easily the belligerent bystander in this meet cute. And then we get their first interaction, which is at the b-ball courts. We got some embarrassing. We got an embarrassing moment on Chip's behalf. He misses some of the easiest shots that I've ever seen, and for a boy that can only be described as boy with basketball, he does a poor job
as Captain Middle Slider.
Yeah, he doesn't do a great job shooting that basketball. So we got belligerent bystander, we got awkward moment,
and then so there is there a moment of too soon to ask out? I would say yes.
I would say absolute awkward moment,
and then so there is there a moment of too soon to ask out? I would say yes.
I would say absolutely. I would say that
we
moment.
We do see the moment where he asks her out.
It was way too soon. It was weird. I think part of the whole dueling dads thing definitely creates that tension of too soon to ask out. Because I'll be honest, I don't think any pass at them, like asking someone out, was like successful, you know? Like, it didn't feel like they ever went on a date.
They met that one time up the road. He said, let's meet up the road. Because if I come to your house, your dad's going to get mad. And if you come to my house, my dad's going to get mad.
Yeah, so let's meet up the road.
Let's meet up the road.
That's so
this
weird.
Is when this was his Romeo moment.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this definitely passes. This is a great meet cute. My new checklist that I'd like to introduce, just to add some more science into this.
Okay.
I'd say we've been very rigorous in our studies. You threw out a term in our very first episode, which was stinker.
Yeah, the stinker.
And that term quite literally has haunted my dreams since you said it. Because it's so accurate and so precise.
Yeah.
That I don't think we need to define it, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I have come up with one additional optional checklists to make sure that a child truly is a stinker.
Okay.
Number 1. This is the optional one. If they have a sibling, they are opposed to or annoyed by them at least once.
Cool.
2, they must be responsible for putting someone in danger at least once.
Okay.
And 3, they must hate homework.
Brilliant.
I would say, so far, canonical has been the one from Call Me Mrs. Miracle.
Yes. I'm inclined to agree. I would say that they're 2 close seconds.
But this is where it gets tricky, because that kid doesn't have a sibling, which is why I made the first rule optional.
Of course. Yeah. No.
But he does put people in danger, and he does hate homework.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can also definitely say the Night Before Christmas and The Town Christmas Forgot has stinkers.
Yes.
Who all pass this test with flying colors.
No, absolutely. And I think the Santa incident is definitely a stinker moment. The
most
kid,
definitely.
The boy.
So far, they have been men. They have been young men.
They are canonically young men, though.
They are canonically young men. I do think we will start getting some female stinkers eventually.
Yeah.
But so far, they've only been brothers.
Yeah.
Little brothers.
I will also...
please.
I think I know where you're going with this, so I'll let you finish on it, then I'll come at you. But go ahead.
Great. I think on the other end of the spectrum, this week gave us two non-stinkers. We had the young boy from Gift of the Magi.
Yes. He was lovely.
And we certainly had Chip.
I do think...
Please?
Tim Wallace is a stinker.
Which one's Tim Wallace?
Tim Wallace is Bob Wallace's son.
Oh, yes.
And he fits that... And I could give data for that, okay?
Yeah, he does, and he is the one I made the list off of. I didn't start making the list until Battle of the Bulbs, when I was satisfied we'd seen enough different boys. We'd seen a lot of stinkers, and finally we got Chip, who I will hold up as the paragon of non-stinker.
Yeah, he is.
In that he is so much like white bread that there is nothing to him except basketball.
Yeah, he is not a stinker. Tim,
Susie, who he does hate, they are annoyed by. He puts his father in danger at the very beginning. He only does it once, I think.
But he
plugs in a light bulb wrong, and he electrocutes his father.
So funny. Bit. He also gives the hot chip. He puts someone in danger.
He does get the hot chip. That's two
moments of danger.
Good catch.
And
he does hate homework.
He doesn't like homework because his mom was like, "You better stop helping your dad do this whole battle thing, and do your homework." And he rolls his eyes.
So this is definitely, I think, a barometer that we should keep in mind going forward.
Brilliant.
So far, I think every child we have called a stinker, canonically in the podcast, is a stinker.
Yes. Yeah.
We should also, though, be aware. Notice that there is no age restriction on this stinker. Trey, that's it.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it for 2010.
That's all we have. And the next...
We did it.
That we've been doing on the podcast here is... We've been using our degrees and our knowledge and our history knowledge to kind of break down theories, hypotheses. Daniel, I poured through the text. I've done the data. I've seen the light. And I know the full story of Phase 1.
Okay.
And off podcast, off recording, I'm going to fill you in on this history, and what do you say we present it together?
I would love that.
On Christmas. How about that? How about we do that on Christmas?
On Christmas Day.
Yeah. What we said in the past 6 episodes, it's going to come up in the recap, but anything that comes up in the recap is for sure 110 what happened.
Yes.
So I'm very happened.
Yes.
So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm very excited to
Me too.
To share it.
I've loved being able to share this with you. I've loved the relationship, and I mean that professionally, but also romantically. That has developed, that we've managed to grow between ourselves here. These are magical movies.
Yeah.
These are really magical movies, made all the more magical by knowing how they connect to each other.
Absolutely.
I want to give a special shout out on Instagram. We post about these a lot on Instagram, Twitter, sometimes on Facebook, although Facebook is an evil corporation. We share these things. We got a like from a wonderful Instagram account that I really want to encourage everyone to go check out. Hunks of Hallmark. Every day, pretty much, they post a new picture of a Hallmark Christmas movie hunk.
Yeah, a daddy.
Sometimes a daddy. Sometimes
daddy.
A dad. Sometimes a daddy. Sometimes just a businessman who needs to learn the real meaning of Christmas. All these they're great. It's a great account. I love when it comes across my dashboard every day. Really go check them out. Again, not endorsed in any way. I don't think they know we exist. But I love them. and it meant a lot to be welcomed into the Hallmark fandom. That was our first kind of welcoming that we got from the larger Hallmark fandom, and it meant a lot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's when you said that to me, I was like, that's definitely on brand right over here.
That's brand, and that's proof that what we're doing is right. All right, well, next week we will not be watching another movie. In only a couple of days, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. In 4 days, 3 days it'll be the Big Eve, and in 4 days it'll be the Big Day.
Yeah, this is gonna be ambitious. I'm very excited. You won't have to watch any movies next time for the recap, and I'm here to remind you to stay jingling and stay jolly.